Hey everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. As you know, last fall we bought this fixer-upper. Now if you're like me, you appreciate character that older homes have. However, some of those characters aren't so great. What I'm talking about is popcorn ceilings. I don't know who came up with that idea, but it was not a good one. And in this house, the entire first floor was covered in popcorn ceilings, and a lot of it was uneven. Some of it was already starting to crumble and fall off, and it was littered with a ton of dust that had collected and just stuck on them. So we knew when we moved in that that was going to be one of the first things to go. Now my husband and I have seen firsthand what it looks like to have professionals remove popcorn ceilings from your home. And it not only is expensive, but it creates a huge wet mess. So we knew that was not the route we wanted to go. We wanted to tackle this on our own, and this was the first time that my husband and I ever had done anything like this. So of course my husband, the Latino engineer, did a ton of research, and we found some great solutions that we thought we would share with you in case you too have the same problem and want to remove your popcorn ceilings. Not only does our method cost significantly less than hiring professionals, but it also provides a less messy route because a lot of us already live in our homes. So we're gonna share our process in this video. We're also gonna share the products that we use and where we got them from. That way you can have the tools to do them yourself. All right, let's get started. This plastic protection that we use right here, it is pre-taped and attached to plastic that you roll out. And in the center, we have a drop cloth, and that's why we kind of taped all of the edges to the drop cloth in the middle. And I'll go ahead and link to this particular product below. It is what we use whenever we paint rooms to protect the floors. It's great stuff. It's pre-taped plastic, and we highly recommend that. That's probably one of the items that we have used the most whenever we do our DIY projects, is this plastic liner with the tape attached.
So we bought this little scraper that has like a lip that holds a bag underneath it. So when you scrape it, all the scrapings go into the actual bag. Now you don't need to have this, but this is probably the cleanest way to do it, because normally what people do is spray the ceiling down and just scrape it and all that stuff just falls on the floor. You know, we've already had dust issues and air quality issues, so we figured this was the best way for us to do it.
And we still, as you can see, covered the floor. That way we don't have to be sweeping up so much stuff. We can just roll everything up into the plastic and pull it out. But this does reduce a lot of the popcorn that falls on the floor. Right,
and the biggest thing when you saturate the ceiling, you don't want to put too much water, because if you put too much water, it's just going to fall down. You basically, since it's textured, when you spray water, it absorbs it. And you just want to kind of do multiple light applications of water. You'll still have a little bit of drip, but if you go crazy and put a ton of water, it's just going to get really, really messy. Because the ultimate goal is for this stuff to just get wet, swell up, get loose, and then scrape it off. And here's a free tip from the Latino engineer. Try to wear eye protection and a mask. This stuff still kicks up dust, and especially if you're getting up kind of close, just wear the mask. You know, it'll make you feel better, and you won't get any of that particles in your lungs. So my big thing is to always wear a mask whenever you're doing anything, but it's not necessary, but I highly recommend it.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to show you guys how to put the little plastic bag.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's got the lip, and what we've been using is trash bags, or not trash bags, I'm sorry, grocery bags. And it comes with these little clips.
This has got to be probably one of the coolest little tools.
Yeah, you know, it's not very expensive. I mean, it's well worth the money. Because, like I said, once you scrape it, all the stuff goes in. And when you're done, it's basically all that stuff you knocked off the ceiling are in the trash bags.
Contained, so it's nice.
And we've done 2 rooms and we got 20 of these. So imagine if you didn't do or use this little thing, all that stuff would be just sitting on the floor, dried up, caked up. Whereas this is a much easier cleanup. I mean, you still have stuff on the bottom that falls down, but...
And just, he finally gets to put those Dollar Tree bags to use.
Yeah, I know. We saved them for a reason.
All right, so let's talk about spraying down the ceiling.
So I bought this little 1-gallon pump sprayer. It's only about $10, and it's probably about the most effective way to get water on your ceiling without dousing it. So,
okay.
I mean, you can get a bigger one if you want, if you got a ton of area, but I mean, $10, you don't really need anything more than that.
Okay.
Filled it up with water and pumping it up. I'm just blocking off the area that I'm just going to spray, and then I'm just going to spray in between. So you can see I've sprayed it. I'm gonna let it sit there for like about a minute to try to soak in, and then I'll just do a reapplication. And then I'll check it to see if it's ready, and if the ceiling's not coming off, I'll reapply again. So the biggest thing is to do light applications to absorb it so you don't have a ton of drip. So that's what I found the best way to do it without making a huge mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's one application right there, and there's no water on the floors.
Right. I mean, you'll still get messy at the end, but you know, typically when you've seen them or when people do house remodels, they just douse everything and then everything just falls on the floor and creates a big mess.
And there's puddles everywhere. We've seen it ourselves.
Yeah, but we're living in the house, so yeah. It's not like, you know, if we were just doing a general remodel that we weren't staying in the house and we weren't worried about the air quality, do that. But if you're living in the house, I found this is the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And we have little kids too, so we want to keep it as tidy as possible.
Oh, and
there's one now! Alright, so he has his mask on now, so I'm going to talk. But he sprayed it down about 3 times, and now it's about ready for him to start. Look at that.
Now he prefers to actually get on a ladder and do it close up to the ceiling. There is an extension bowl that you can add to the scraper. However, we found out that when you use it that way, it doesn't apply the exact pressure that you need. And because you're applying pressure from a lot further away and the angle is different, you tend to nick the ceiling a lot more often and will have to create a lot more patchwork in the end that you're going to have to repair. Now sometimes you'll notice that you'll pass a scraper and then you'll come into a hard patch. All you have to do there is respray it again, wait a few minutes, and then come back, and then it should be soft enough to continue scraping on.
And as you can see, it's all in the bag. Except for the small bits that fell off right here, but that's nothing compared to having all of this on your floor.
Typically, you just went over here and scraped it. But this is what most people would have done. They would just scrape it and just fell on the floor. But with that, it's in the bag. Like the hair. So what we're saying, so if it's hard like this, just re-applicate it, you know, re-get it damp. That way it comes off really easy. But it should come off as easy as I was doing it. And it's also a great shoulder workout. So when you're done, you don't need to go to the gym. Just do this. So again, that's why I'm doing it in sections, because kind of like this got hard. This was the first part that I got wet. If we would have just got the whole ceiling wet, you know, once I got to the back part, it would be really hard. So again, it's easier to just work in smaller sections. That starts getting heavy after a little bit, so you just got to change them out periodically.
So then now,
there's usually caulking on the edge of the sheetrock and the crown molding. So I just scrape it off and take it off. I'm gonna come back and recaulk everything anyways. So what I usually do whenever the sheetrock needs the crown molding.
Now sometimes there'll be little pieces of, there you go. You just saw him remove it. Little pieces like that still left that the big scraper doesn't take down. So once he's done with this section, he'll come back and he'll clean up any other additional little areas that still have a little bit of popcorn on them. And he smooths everything out. This is why you still need the plastic on the floor, even though we're still using the little attachment with the bag on it.
And after he removes those pieces of caulk from the edges and borders, he does put them away in the little bags. That way they're not causing any extra clutter on the floors. And then he starts at the next square. Now, as you can see, we did remove the vent covers from our ceiling AC vents, and our light fixtures are not covered because we will be replacing them as they are old. But if you do have a light fixture that you would like to keep in your room, I would suggest putting a bag or something over it and making sure it's nice and covered. If you have a ceiling fan, and even if you wish to keep it, it would be best to remove the blades for this. Once we finish removing the popcorn ceilings, we remove the plastic coverings before the next step. Now, it was easy for us to do this because we did have subfloors. We do not have finished floors underneath. So if you do have finished floors, you might want to keep the plastic. However, it'll be a little tricky because you will still need to mud and fix any areas that are not even, and you're going to need a shop vac to sand.
Okay, so finally we have all of the popcorn ceiling removed, and you've already patched it up, right, hon?
Right, so this is the first room where I took off the popcorn ceiling and I kind of nicked the ceiling since I wasn't used to, you know, the correct water ratio that you're supposed to put on to get all that stuff off. So I mudded the ceiling, patched it up, and now we got to sand it to make it smooth so we can paint it.
You got yourself a new tool, didn't you?
And I did. So originally I was just sanding it by hand, and that created a ton of dust.
And a lot of pain.
But it was just going out into the house, getting on everywhere. And if you've ever sanded much, you know, whenever you do sheetrock, it just gets everywhere. So I went out and got a sander that has a vacuum in it. So basically this thing is an orbital sander that has little holes, has this little edge, and then there it creates a suction that sucks all the, you know, fine particles out.
And it goes right into your shop vac.
So, and the one thing, when you use the shop vac, make sure you put I forget what they call it, a dust particle filter.
A fine dust, I think.
Fine dust,
yeah.
right, because if you just start using it, it's just going to blow out the other end. I mean, I know there's a filter in there, but it's not meant to catch the dust.
Gotcha. So yeah, we already have that in there, right?
Right.
Alright.
So there's a regular filter, and then one of these bags that catches all the. Plus, I'm gonna open this window, put a little box fan to try to create a suction, you know.
Outwards.
Correct. So, and then once we get all that sanded, paint, and one step closer to moving in here.
Now after everything was sanded, we wiped everything down with a damp cloth and then we proceeded to paint. We did try using our paint sprayer in this room and everything worked out fine. However, there was a lot of overspray that would fall back down from the ceiling and we decided to go ahead and roll the rest. But either option is perfectly fine. I'll make sure to link below the type of ceiling paint that we used for our house as well. And that is pretty much how you can remove popcorn ceilings and get smooth ceilings in your home. And here is how one of those bedrooms turned out. Not bad for it being his very first time doing this. And like he mentioned before, he did caulk the upper portion of that molding that actually touched the ceiling, and we painted the walls as well as the crown molding and all the trim.
I really hope you found this video helpful and gave you a little bit more confidence in tackling those popcorn ceilings. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any more questions, and if you guys are planning on tackling this yourselves now. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you wish to get more tips like this as we progress through our renovations. And I'll go ahead and share the playlist for the videos that we've already shared and what we have done so far. I hope this was helpful and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios.